Back once again for another one of our Mike and Mike's off-air podcasts. Mike Pesto hanging out with you.
And Mike O'Neill right over here. And everybody on YouTube.
Hello.
Hey, it's good to see you.
Or watching online, too, at my975fm.com. One-stop shopping, again, with the audio, the video, the poll question, which we'll get to in a second.
Because it is nice to be seen and not viewed.
So I, again, just kind of stockpiled stuff once again this week of things that I kind of brought up. And I'm like, is there anybody else here I can talk to about it? And Chad, who does traffic updates, was a little busy with traffic. So
Darn traffic.
I actually mentioned this, and I did a video as well with Ray, our promotions coordinator. So by 8:36 every morning, most Americans will tell you if a couple bad things have happened. They know, again, by 8:36 in the morning, Monday through Friday, that their entire day is ruined. That nothing can save it. Enough bad stuff has happened. That's it. I'm just going to chalk this one up. It's just going to be a bad day, as we just lost everybody on YouTube.
I'll take karma for 300, Mike. Jeez.
I guess it's going to be a bad podcast.
It's way after 8:30 here. All right.
That was interesting timing on that.
All right. Thank you. The Lord is... yeah, okay.
So, do you buy into that at all?
No, because I once did, yes. I once did. Okay, it's all going to be crap. But I had a very good therapist who explained to me once, and I'm going to do this terribly, but you'll get the point. A, B, C. A is the plan you made for the day, and you thought it through. Yeah. You were very careful, and here's how it's going to go. C is the results, exactly getting to that point and just getting there and doing it. I never understood B before. B is I can make changes along the way to A. And I was always one that thought, no, if I have to change A, I'm failing. That's so wrong. So I've learned to, and my wife will say it now because I explained to her, hey, Mike, you need to change your B. I know.
That's a great way of putting it. I like that.
So that's what she'll say. And so I know that that's not true, that I can change my B multiple times till I get my fanny above water.
Now, the question I did ask on Facebook, and I got some reaction to this, is what could happen to you during your day before 8:36, again, that magical time, that if that did happen, you would start thinking, all right, maybe this is not going to be the best of days. Is there anything like that maybe in the past before you adopted your flexible way of life now that, boy, if that had happened before 8:36, I would have rolled in thinking, boy, I'm just going to be walking on pins and needles all day because the whole day is going to go like this.
Well, if I missed an appointment, if I somehow managed to be unaware of an appointment, I have a 9 o'clock production appointment this morning, and I come rolling in at 9:07, unaware, and everybody's standing around wondering where the heck I'm at. Those kinds of things will catch me. Although that happens, and you can ask anybody here, almost never. Because thank God for the iPhone. By the way, you can set alarms. Who knew? Everyone, that's who. And that's an example. We're in a place now where there's not I'm once divorced, Mike. My father has passed away. I've seen a lot of the things that I thought were going to ruin my life if they ever happened. And guess what? I'm alive and well and living in. It takes a lot to kind of knock me off my beam these days. So not a lot of things. I mean, if I woke up and found, but we wouldn't be overdrawn. We wouldn't be. I mean, if I woke up and saw, I don't know, if I got really, really, really bad news about someone in my family.
Yeah, that would hurt most of us. That
would hurt. But no, not usually. I'm pretty flexible these days.
I even remember when my dad passed a couple of years ago, and granted, I got the news the night before.
Yeah.
And still came in that next morning, and I think I explained a couple of times on the air. Yeah, my dad passed away last night, but I'm here because my dad taught me to be a professional. And I can't guarantee what my level of best today is going to be, but you will get the best of me that I have.
But we won't get that from the camera. I'm going to tell you that, or the mount.
Gravity in this room today.
It's everywhere, Mike. It's everywhere.
If you're watching on YouTube, we apologize for this.
Sorry that we've knocked you over twice now on YouTube.
I'm I'm going to explain that in just a second.
Motion sickness.
But yeah, but again, that was something from the night before. The one thing I kind of did, and I talked about this on the air, is, and you heard the morning show promo that day as well, and I've been meaning to tell you this. You did a brilliant job at that morning show promo that day, the one where you incorporate a little bit of Taylor Swift, Shake It Off.
That was fun.
And literally, I will do that in the studio if I have a bad break. I'm just tripping over my tongue. I can't seem to get out of my own way. And I think you may have had shifts like that. Once a week, it seems, I have a shift where my mouth cannot keep up with the speed of my brain or vice versa. And I'm tripping all over myself. I will stand back and and I will literally shake my body as I'm doing on YouTube right now and just try to, everything that's happened to this point, gone.
Yeah.
Let's start the day over fresh mentally right now. I'll try to do that sometimes. I'll be successful. Sometimes I won't.
It's not a bad. It's psychologically. There's a basis for that. A very good programmer of mine years ago, Lee Evans. When you hit that point, stand up, get up, change something, anything.
Okay.
The way you're doing whatever you're doing that day, change it completely. Sit back down and proceed again. And it can be the simplest of things, and it seems to work for me. And what I've come to understand, it's the interruption. And it's no longer a connection of seemingly unrelated things. Mm-hmm. And you realize, you just kind of got to where you were wound up to here.
Yep.
And you just need to and come back down to here. And then,
Yeah, and realize that if a couple bad things happen, it's not an omen telling you the whole day is going to suck. It's just a couple bad things happen. Maybe they were related. Maybe they weren't. It's just happenstance.
Doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Just stop. Start, keep going.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of my dad, and I was not going to bring this up.
Yes, sir.
But I was reminded because things are moving here in the studio, obviously, with the camera that we have and a couple of different angles that we've had. In fact, I should probably pan down a little bit.
That's all the special effects I got for you. I'm sorry.
I had my conversation with Tyler Henry.
How'd that go?
I don't want to say too much because there's some things that came out towards the end. We had a great conversation about his new series coming to Netflix, September 17th, called Live from the Other Side. It will be live on Netflix, but if you saw his previous special where it showed a lot of what he did behind the scenes and personal Tyler Henry and his personal relationships and his strange relationship that he had with Manny from Hanford when he used to live there. It's going to be less about that and more about the nuts and bolts of readings that he does. But he did say it will be live, which is when you talk to a medium. He pointed out in the conversation, many times when he'll have a session scheduled with one other person, but say it was for a special that he was recording. There's been times, I think he mentioned when he did the show that was on E! Years ago, where the guy who was there to record sound for the show, he was getting messages from the other side for that person, not the celebrity that was there. Nothing was coming through for them.
Wow.
So he had the sound tech sit down. Say, apparently, there's someone who really wants me to tell you something.
Apparently, you're the conduit. Who knew?
So had that person sit down. So we spent a lot of 90 to 95% of the conversation was about that. And I did jokingly tell him early on in the conversation, I said, when we spoke 2 years ago, my father had just passed away. And I didn't mention that at the time, and it was still very raw. And I had friends of mine ask me, family members as well, what if he senses something and has a message for you from your dad? Would you want to hear it? I couldn't answer that question at the time. So I never did resolve it. If Tyler at some point in that phone conversation had said, listen, I know we're recording a phone conversation, but I'm really getting something for you personally. Now, I don't know if you want to keep recording or if you want to hit pause, but do you want to hear what I'm being told? I don't know what my response would have been in that moment. Flash forward 2 years. So my dad's been gone for a while, obviously, and I told Tyler jokingly early on in the conversation, hey, my dad's been gone for a couple of years, so if at any point if my dad happens to start whispering in your ear something he wants me to know, by all means, let me know.
Bring it out.
Conversation went on, and I don't want to say too much because we haven't aired the audio of this yet. I want everyone to hear it for the first time, as I heard it for the first time, and see it because we got YouTube video that we're going to post as well, because it was a Zoom call that they recorded on their end. But you probably figure out by now, my dad came through to him, and it was very, very obvious in things that Tyler said he could not have known. There is no way he could have known the things that he said, things that I've not said to anyone, never posted online. There's no information about it anywhere. Somehow he knew. So for any skeptics, until it happens to you, I get being skeptic, because even though it happened to me, I'm still a little skeptical. But I buy into it a lot more now than I did before that conversation.
Yeah, 'cause that's amazing. I know what I believe about that, and it's not. I am very skeptical about that. But then again, that hasn't happened to me that I'm aware of. So I'd like very much to see what you went through.
Yeah, my thought on it has always been, what helped me get through it with my dad's passing was thinking that where we go is so much of a better place. The last thing you care about at that point is what's here, because of what's there is so much better.
Yeah.
And yes, you can't wait to see your loved ones, but you're with God and Jesus and everyone else that has passed, and you're enjoying your time with them, knowing in due time, in my dad's case, his wife will be with him, his children will be with him, his grandchildren will be with him. The fact that, and I'm not willing quite to say that it's a fact, but with this little reveal now, this little pullback of the curtain, if you will, that maybe they are able to at least let those who are able to hear get messages that they can give to us. The one thing I will say, and I don't want to say too much about it, but there were some questions that I had with my dad's passing, especially the last few weeks or so before he ultimately did pass. And I've always thought it was so corny when mediums will say, they just want you to know they're happy, they're at peace. Tyler said a lot of things leading up to that, but then did say he does want you to know it's fine. Everything's fine now. He is truly okay with everything, how it went down. And a lot more will come out when you see the video and when you hear the audio. And thank goodness my wife was actually on her lunch break at the time, and she was there. In fact, very early on in the video, she popped in, and he actually did a few times, and invited Tyler to the house at some point when he's back in Hanford. Because my wife threw out a couple times she's 100% Sicilian. And Tyler mentioned recently he found out that he's Sicilian as well.
Wow.
So she, well, in that case, you have to come over. I'll make you Sicilian meatloaf, or I'll make you lasagna, whatever you want. And he didn't say no. So we'll see at some point, maybe if Tyler Henry comes over, and maybe my dad's got more stuff to tell me.
Oh, my goodness. That'll be a session to reveal.
Yeah, but I'm a lot like you, very skeptical of anything like that. I mean, we joked about all the things that I try to do, going to haunted locations and doing spirit sessions and do all that, because I believe, but I want proof.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, was it Reagan said years ago, trust but verify?
Yeah.
Same thing. I trust, but okay, show me some pictures, show me some video that has not been altered. Have a conversation with someone that reveals something to you that there's no way they could have known unless someone was whispering in their ear, as was the case with Tyler on Monday. Yeah, it's...
I know my wife believes it firmly. She believes firmly that that folks from the other side can contact if need be, or if the desire is there. But it hasn't happened to me, so I haven't seen it, is all I'll say. Were I to see it, I would be obviously, oh, well, yeah.
And even it's one of those things where even if it happens to someone that you know, like obviously it happened to me, that's great, but until it actually happens to you, there's still that, well, maybe it's a misinterpretation of what was said, or maybe And there are, I would imagine, a lot of people who do take advantage of situations like that, who aren't, don't have the abilities that Tyler has. And I truly do believe after that session, if nothing else, he does have an ability. What that is exactly, I'll just leave it up to everyone else to decipher when they hear the conversation and they see the video.
When will we get the chance to hear and see it?
And you may be involved in this. I need to have a meeting with our program director, Randy. The audio that I got, really, really bad. So I gave him the entire clip, all 33 minutes of the conversation. It was supposed to be 25, and I went about 20. And I started wrapping things up, and that's when Tyler said, before we wrap things up, I'm getting 3 things for you. So it went from 25 minutes to, 22 or so to 33. So the last 10 minutes of the conversation was all very personal stuff, which I will probably get out there. If not the audio, the video will definitely show all of that. And again, I'm thankful that my wife was there, because as soon as she started hearing some things, she immediately came over and put her arm around me, because I was dumbstruck with what was coming out.
Well, I'm interested now. You've got me. I can't wait to see. I'm going to guess there's probably, I haven't heard the audio, but does it just sounds like really light and thin?
Like a bad Zoom call.
Then they probably rendered it at a too low a rate.
Okay.
And we'll probably be able to call them and go, hey, re-render it at 320, would you please, instead of the 15 that it appears to be at. And then they can do that and send it. A lot of times they'll send a smaller file because it's easier to email, but we have Dropbox, so we can take it and get it at a higher rate.
And I asked our program director, and I'll ask him in our meeting if there's a way to EQ it, at least so it's airable. And obviously you're shaking your head. So
if there's no bass in it, there's no bass in it.
Okay.
And you can't with audio that has too much high frequency and too much low frequency, you can take it out. You can't create what's not there.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, we'll do with it what we can. At the very, very least, we will post the entire Zoom call on YouTube, and maybe because it's mostly my audio, I can always take me out and whatever question I asked, record with our equipment here, and then you'll hear his response. And his audio is much better because, again, they're recording him live on his end. So we'll see how it happens. It may require a little bit more work to present it the way that we want to audibly, but, again, the video we'll just throw up there as is, all 33 minutes of it.
Very interested. You've got me on the hook, my friend.
That's a good tease. I didn't really mean it to be. All right, so there's going to be a poll question. It's not up there yet, but wrapped into something that I talked about earlier this week. It was National Hawaiian Pizza Day.
I know where the train's going to get off the tracks here.
Just did as soon as I said Hawaiian pizza.
Yeah, well, that's like
in your world. That's
military intelligence where I come from. Oxymorons for 200, Alex.
I don't always want it, but a good Canadian bacon. It's just ham.
Right.
And pineapple pizza does hit the spot every once in a while. A little pop quiz for you. So this was according to YouGov.com, a survey they did, I think, last year, the year before. What do you think, as far as Americans who love pizza, the least popular toppings on a pizza? Pineapple is one of them.
Anchovies is probably on there.
Anchovies at number one. 61% of pizza lovers will never have a pizza with anchovies on it.
To include me.
All right. So you've got number one.
God, so of the normal, quote unquote, normal toppings.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some of these are not very normal at all.
Okay. Peanut butter. Since that was on a hamburger recently.
Not quite that out of the ordinary. I've heard of these. Think more California Pizza Kitchen type toppings on things. So nothing that you'll see at Domino's or Pizza Hut, things like that.
Avocado?
You're close. Started with an A. Artichokes.
Yeah, you know what? My wife would like that.
Artichokes. 44% of pizza lovers will never have a pizza with artichokes on it.
See, that's my wife. She gets the veggie pizza, which I'm like, why even get a pizza?
And I will tell you the other two, aside from pineapple, are also vegetables.
Yeah. Good Lord.
Any idea?
Not which specific vegetables?
One, I don't think you'd ever guess.
I hope one of them is not. I'm looking right at it. It's God. My wife loves these things. It's not going to come to me.
It wasn't broccoli, was it?
No.
All right.
Broccoli on a pizza?
Apparently, in some places, 44% of
You know
people.
what? She'd like-
Actually, I take it back. 39% of people who love pizza would not have a pizza with broccoli on it.
I sure wouldn't.
I would try it because I love broccoli.
So do I.
And maybe with the right type of cheese. Again, it sounds like something you'd see at California Pizza Kitchen.
Yeah.
Eggplant was the only other one over 50%, 52%. Now, that's one my wife would try again, being 100% Sicilian. That's definitely an Italian thing.
And making it definitely a vegetarian pizza at that
so
point.
anchovies 1, eggplant 2, artichokes 3, broccoli 4, and then pineapple. 35% of pizza lovers would not have pineapple on their pizza. So there's going to be a poll question up if it's not up already, depending on when you listen or when you watch.
No sweet.
Is that a yes or a no? Is that a deal breaker when it comes to pizza for you? Obviously, for me, it is not. For Jennifer Grant, it is, and for you, obviously.
I love, my favorite pizza is a sausage, mushroom, and olive. That's my...
See, the olive is the one that gets me. I'll eat
So
olive on a
good.
combination.
So good.
But if I see them too prominently, like if I pull out a slice of combination that is just loaded with olives, I'll take half of them off. It's never been a taste that I like, and I really can't put my finger on it as to why, but in a combination, there's enough other stuff. Okay, I'm not going to be that guy to just continuously pick stuff off my pizza, although my son and wife wouldn't mind because they love olives.
I love what it brings to the party. If I'm having a Mediterranean lamb and rice bowl, I want the Mediterranean olives. Those are so strong, and I just love it in that combination.
I think it may go back to, I remember as a Boy Scout years ago, and yes, I was a Boy Scout at one point, the first weekend camping trip I went on, there was a camp hazing that went on. Nothing too fierce, but because there were camp leaders there as well. But for those who had never been on an overnight camp before, at one point we were all blindfolded, and one of the things that we had to eat was an olive stuffed with salt.
Oh, my goodness.
And I forget what we were told it was, because we had to eat all these things, and we were told it was something else, like a Fear Factor sort of thing.
It was an eyeball, probably.
Basically, yeah. And as I was eating it, I could tell what it was, so I knew it wasn't what they were saying. But, it's one of those, if I think about it long enough, I can feel that little tickle in the back of my throat to this day.
Boy Scouts. So, he's talking about the hazings.
Yeah.
Did you get sent? We went to the big Boy Scout jamborees sometimes. And then I was brand new as a Boy Scout. They sent me around to the other like our troop was here, to other troops, looking for things. They sent me looking for a left-handed smoke shifter.
What's a smoke shifter?
It doesn't exist. And that's the point. I'm in Boy Scouts for a minute and a half, and I want to be a Boy Scout, and I'm running around. And I got 2 in, and someone went, "Shh, come here. Oh. They're just messing with you. Go back and tell them you figured it out."
That's funny.
Yeah.
And I bought it. I'm like, what's a smoke shifter?
Anyway, loving it.
Do you remember any of the ghost stories that were told around campfires as a Boy Scout?
I can't remember them to tell them, but I would recognize them.
The one I recall to this day was the story of Stumpy. It's a scout years ago that one of the merit badges, and one of the few merit badges that I actually got, is you had to go camp away from everyone else, at least 100 yards, by yourself for the night. So away from the fire, everything else, but whatever you could do, you had to figure out a way to secure yourself in case it rained and everything else. And at the end, the camp instructor had to come over and inspect where you kind of hunkered down that night to see if it was worthy of the merit badge.
You're an autonomous camper now.
Correct. Yeah, and everyone else, you could kind of almost hear and see in the distance. Well, the night before I did that, they told the story of Stumpy.
Oh, nice.
So apparently it was a Boy Scout who had to go do one of those.
I'm sure it was very much on purpose.
And I'll do the sound effects as best I can because it's all about the sound effects. Is what he heard in the middle of the night was.
Lovely.
And what it turned out was it was a Boy Scout from years ago who had to do the same thing. And as he was cutting rope to build his tent, he accidentally cut off his leg.
Oh, Lord.
So with the hatchet that he had, he chopped down a tree and used a tree stump for his leg at that point. So if you're staying off by yourself and you hear, that's Stumpy.
Oh, my goodness.
Coming to pay you a visit. Now go off and
see you tomorrow. Yeah, great. That'll work.
So I don't know. I'm sure it must have happened with some that as they go off and pitch their tent somewhere, some other Boy Scouts will come in the middle of the night and do the.
I love it.
For that, you deserve a double merit badge.
Absolutely. I'm going to go find a left-handed smoke shifter right now.